This is the best Spore Druid Gloomstalker build you will find. Now, we are going to do our usual levels 1 to 12, and we will do a combat tutorial. Now, please bear in mind, this is not a min-max or OP or optimal build. This is very much a fun build you can put into your D&D or your Baldur's Gate game. So, we will start with Druid for this. Now, spell-wise, in my opinion, there's only a couple of options here. I would take Thorn Whip, because I think Thorn Whips are great, and I'll take Guidance, as I think Guidance gives you a lot of versatility when it comes to your checks. Okay, for your ability points, I would leave something along the lines of this. We want our Dexterity, we want our Constitution, and we want our Wisdom to be the highest we have. Wisdom is obviously what our spellcasting is based on. Constitution for our concentration spells, because we're going to be using a couple of them. And Dexterity, because that is what our weapon will be. For skill proficiencies, you can really take anything you fancy here. Really, it's up to you. I would personally probably take Insight and Perception myself, but the option is really yours. Okay, at level 2 we are sticking with Druid, and we get to pick our subclass of Circle of Spores. I wasn't a big Druid fan, to be honest, before playing Baldur's Gate, but they have very much grown on me. Now, when it comes to spells, you have a few options, but these would be my choices. I would take Fairy Fire. All targets within the light turn visible, and attack rolls have an advantage against them. This can be very helpful, especially against enemies that can turn invisible. This, and also the fact that it gives you advantage, very helpful. Thunderwave, in my opinion, one of the best spells in the game. Very good for just throwing enemies off of ledges, pushing enemies back if you need to, that sort of stuff. It can really help you get yourself out of trouble, but it can also help deal massive damage. And there are some walls that you need to break down that have loot hidden behind, and Thunderwave is perfect for that. I would take Healing Word, because having versatility of healing is never a bad thing. I would take Long Strider. I think this is a great spell to just cast before combat, and you're sorted. And Speak with Animals, because there's lots of animals in the game that can give you information, and we're a Druid. Okay, at level 3, this is where I would start multi-classing. You can do this in any order you really want to, but I'm just going to break it down very simply, and we're going to do 2 levels of Druid. We'll then do all of our Ranger levels, and then we'll do all of our Druid levels again. But really work this in whichever order you like. You could do 2 Druid, 3 Ranger, all your Druid again, and then the last 2 Ranger if you wanted to, but then you're sacrificing your Misty Step and extra attack. You can reverse it and do the 5 Ranger, which we're going to do now, and then do your other 5 Druid on top after. But then you're sacrificing your higher end necromancy spells and that sort of thing. So really, it's up to you how you do this. Now, I would do Keeper of Veil, just for the proficiency in Arcana and protection from good and evil. I think that's really good. I would do Wasteland Wanderer Poison. You spend endless days surviving filled swamps. You gain resistance to poison damage. This can be very good, because there is part of this build we will be talking about where we do need resistance to poison damage. Now we get 1 more skill proficiency, and again, it's really up to whatever you fancy doing. Investigation is always nice, stealth is really nice. Pick whichever you want. Okay, at level 4 we are sticking with Ranger for level 2. This gives us access to more spells. Now, the first one we are taking is Hunter's Mark, which is why our concentration is so beneficial to us. Concentration, you get an extra 1d6 damage per attack. So we'll take Hunter's Mark. We are also going to take Hail of Thorns. The thorns deal weapon damage to the target and then explode. The explosion deals additional 1d10 piercing damage to the target and surrounding creatures. Again, a really great spell. Can't go wrong with it. And this is a archery build, so you gain +2 bonus to ranged weapon attacks. We're taking archery. Okay, Ranger level 3, and this is where we go into our new subclass. First things first, we're going to take Ensnaring Strike. Your attack summons thorny vines that possibly ensnare your target. This can be really good if you can drop them in poison, because then they're just stuck continuously taking that damage. And the best Ranger subclass, in my opinion, the Gloomstalker, is where we go here. This gives access to Dread Ambusher, so every beginning of the turn we can deal an additional amount of damage. We also get a +3 to our initiative, and we get Superior Dark Vision, which can be very good if your character does not have Dark Vision. Now again, as I said, from here you can do the rest of the levels in whichever order you deem worthy. So we're just going to stick with the 2 Rangers, just to keep it condensed, and then we'll do the rest of our Druid. So, Ranger level 4, we get our first feat. Now for this, the only option I believe is Warcaster. You gain advantage on saving throws to maintain concentration on a spell. You can also use a reaction to cast Shocking Grasp at a target moving out of melee range. Keeping concentration on whichever you're doing, whether it's Ensnaring Strike, whether it's Hunter's Mark, really do think this is beneficial, because if you can keep Hunter's Mark and you can keep that continuous damage coupled with Symbiotic Entity, you're dealing extra damage, haven't got to recast, it's perfect. And at range of level 5, the extra attack, which is always nice, and Misty Step, again, probably one of the best spells in the game in my opinion. You can use this to get on a ledge out the way of everyone, or to get out of trouble in an instant, and really stop yourself from being damaged or attacked. And it's a bonus action, so you can still use your main action to then attack afterwards or before. And for me, Spike Growth. Shape a piece of ground into hard spikes. Movement is halved. A creature walking on the spikes takes 2d8 piercing damage for every 1.5 meters it moves. Again, if you can throw this up in a choke point and make the enemies run through it to get to you, that's free damage you're doing, and you're just shooting them. It's so easy. If you can keep them stuck in this because they have such little movement, or if you can really get them trapped and they have to walk through this nice and slow, free damage, you could do 1 or 2 attacks on them before they even get to you. Okay, your third level of Druid now. We have access to our level 2 spells, and for this, I think the best option here is Hold Person. Another option would be Flame Blade. Conjure a flaming scimitar in your hand that deals 3 to 18 fire damage. This can be really good if you've got people up close and personal to you. But again, it really depends on how you want to do your build. You can really take anything here. Bark Skin's really good. Pass Without Trace is really good. Lesser Restoration's really good. So really you can't go wrong. So just take whatever feels good for you. But I will take Hold Person. Okay, Druid level 4 now. We're going to take Poison Spray, because I just love Poison Spray. And for your feat, now you could take an ASI ability improvement if you want to. It sort of depends on what equipment you're using. You could take Elemental Adapt if you are focusing on a type of damage and you want to just break through those resistances. The feat I would choose here though is Sharpshooter. Your ranged weapon attacks do not receive penalties from high ground rules. Ranged weapon attacks with weapons you're proficient with have -5 penalty to attack roll. But we have offset this because we get a +2 from our archery fighting style. You can also turn this on and off. So honestly, I don't really think the -5 is that big of a loss, especially if you can put yourself in a position where you have a good chance of hitting. I think you're fine. And for here, I would take Lesser Restoration as your spell. Okay, we are now a level 5 Druid and we get so many good things. The main one being Animate Dead. Create an undead servant from a corpse. This is so good. Yeah, you can't really say anything else about it, to be honest. It's just extra people on the battlefield. For a spell, again, can't really go wrong, but I would take Plant Growth personally. Make weeds burst from the ground and smother the area. Creatures moving through the weeds have their movement speed quartered. Again, very, very helpful. And level 6 is where we have Fungal Infestation. Raise a mildewed, mold-encrusted zombie from a corpse. Again, just another summon we can have to couple with the damage we deal. And for a spell, again, really can't go wrong with anything. A lot of these are concentration. I would take Daylight personally, because I think it can be very helpful if you are stuck. It can really help your partners hit things, as well as deal with any darkness, as long as it's not magical around. And your final level of Druid, we are now level 7. And for this, Conjure Woodland Being. Okay, so that is our Gloomstalker Druid in action. We'll go find some combat, show off how this build works. Okay, so just one thing to note. You can buy this armor in the Sorcerer's Sundries in Act 3. Now, I think it's really good, especially for this build. High spellcasting. You gain a +1 bonus to spell save DC. Green Bed Regeneration. When starting your turn on plant growth surface or vine surface, regain 1d4 hit points. And advantage on Constitution saving throws. So, again, pop this up and you just get an extra health per turn. Okay, so here we are, ready to start some combat. Now, before we do this, we can throw up a few buffs. So, first one first, Symbiotic Entity. Now this will use one of your charges, gain 28 temporary hit points and deal an additional 1d6 damage while you have them. And you can cast Halo Spores with double damage, and that is a bonus action. So, we'd cast this. Now this also stacks with Hunter's Mark, so not only will you do a bunch of necrotic damage, You'll also do extra damage from Hunter's Mark as long as you maintain concentration. Okay, so with that being done, we can now, because you will find corpses throughout the game, we can now come over here and we can summon some corpses. So, we would go to Animate Dead. You can pick whichever level you want. Let's do some zombies. We'll take level 3. In fact, no, we'll cast them up higher. We'll do a level 4 zombie. And here we have them. We now have 2 zombies. We can then do something like Conjure Woodland Being. And we'll grab a level 5 Woodland Being. The Woodland Being can then summon a Fallen Lover. Like such. And then we can pick a fight. Okay, so here we are, and you can see we're kind of stuck in the middle here. So what we could do is, as I said, Misty Step, get ourselves out of danger, and we'll just put ourselves here. And now we're free. Because we have Dread Ambusher, we can find it on our list here somewhere. Just down here. And we can just take a shot. In fact, we won't take the shot at the one with a little bit of health. We'll take it on someone with a good amount of health. Let's do this one. Now, we do have all-in sharpshooters. We have got the -5. And we did 23 damage. Now, because we had to Misty Step out, we weren't able to cast Hunter's Mark that round. But we still have our attacks. So we can do ranged attack. We missed that one, but that's okay. And there you go. That is another one down. Now, all your summons have attacks too, so we start with the Dryad, and these are basically just extra people you can have. The Dryad is really good because they can ensnare people. So if you can throw up something like a Cloud Kill, and throw the Dryad in to just keep people ensnared, and then they'll keep taking that poison damage per turn, which we'll show you in a bit. Again, the Woodwode will do a lot of damage. Like that, 14 damage just for being a summon.
What should I do?
And there you go, we did 17 damage then that time. Now we still have our other summons as well, so we have 2 zombies that can run in and attack. Now you'll see we're ensnared, which isn't ideal, but it does mean we can do things like we can throw down our plant growth. So, pop that where we are. And now because we're in it, we will heal that 1d4 per turn. We also took some damage, so we can recast our symbiotic entity if we choose to. However, we are a little stuck at the moment. We do have fungal infestation, so we could raise one of these if we could reach them. Unfortunately, I don't think we are able to, but there is a zombie here. Yeah, it's not within distance, but that is another option we have. Every enemy we kill, we can re-raise. We can use our bonus action to do Halo of Spores, or Hunter's Mark. So if we were to do Hunter's Mark, we will do it at, let's say, just level 1, because there's no reason to do it any higher. And we'll put Hunter's Mark on them. Now, we lost our symbiotic entity, but that still means we have the option to do more damage per turn until we recast it. And again, with the Dryad, we can just keep hitting. Just keep them ensnared so they can't move. Which leaves the Woodwode available to just deal a load of damage. Like that. And we still have the zombie summons that can come in and swing. And they do a pretty decent amount of damage. Now you see we took 27 damage, but we still maintain concentration, which is insane. Okay, so we're back to our turn. Now we can do Symbiotic Entity again. That'll give us our 28 extra points. And we can do a load of damage to the gentleman down here. Unfortunately, we haven't got the turn this time, but we can do Halo of Spores. Which they save, but you can see the option you have there of using your bonus action to still do damage, even if you use your turn. And you can see just how much damage these summons are doing. They are just wailing on the enemy. 16 damage then, concentration broken on Fairy Fire, which just frees up all of this. And what you will notice is, because our zombie killed the enemy down here, we now have a third zombie we can now use in battle, which is what makes this build so good. Unfortunately, we can't control it because it is a newborn zombie, but it will just keep running at these things. It's immune to poison damage. And as I said, this build really works if you were to do something such as... If you were to cast Cloud Kill, now we're just going to show this as a demo. Let's throw Cloud Kill up here. They are taking the damage from it. But you will notice that our Druid and the zombies are all immune to it. So if you can find a Barbarian that you can make immune to poison as well, you are also going to be fine. Now, the other option you have is, if you were able to come in here and use your Thorn Whip, you could pull them back into the Cloud Kill, which does a lot more damage. Unfortunately, being ensnared isn't helping our situation here to show that off. Okay, so once again, we've got a lot of zombies, and they can just wail on these dudes here. We have our newborn zombie here. And they do 12 damage to these people without any armor. Okay, so we are in our Cloud Kill, and you can see the enemy down here. So if we were to do Thorn Whip, we managed to pull them back into our Cloud Kill, and they've taken the damage from that. That's just another option we have. We can then do our Halo or Spores to deal 10 damage, because it's double, because we still have our symbiotic entity up. And as you just saw very quickly, because he was stuck in the Cloud Kill, he instantly died. Even in the middle of the battle, we still have the ability to recast spells and get even more summons, this time a nice little skeleton. And because we have Sharpshooter, we ignore the low ground, 75% chance, and a nice big kill, and we turned him into a zombie as well, as you can see. And that is the benefit of this build, is you can deal so much damage, but you can keep animating dead. So for example, I can now grab 2 more. The camera is very janky in this area, but we can grab these guys. And now not only are we a high damage dealing ranger, we are also a Spore Druid, and we have a bunch of summons as well as 2 powerful Druid entities. And that is this build summed up. You can keep doing this, keep grabbing all these minions, deal lots of damage, throw poison around to keep that damage up, maintain control on the battlefield. If you've enjoyed it, please let me know below. What would you do different in this build? Obviously, you are sacrificing a few levels of Spore Druid, but I think just the theme of this and how powerful it can be, it is worth it. Let me know below if you have enjoyed and what you would change. If you haven't already, please drop a like. That'd be amazing. If you're new and you're not subscribed yet, I'd like to. That'd also be amazing. And hopefully, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.